Welcome back to DBL. Superstar pastor Joel Osteen is sparking debate. Apparently, he avoids being alone with any woman who isn't his wife. Despite his vow to be faithful, he says this is why he has not been at the center of any sex scandal associated with positions of power. But feminists argue that doing this sexualizes women even more and makes it harder for them to advance in their careers. So DBL Nation, what do you make of this rule? Let's get right to your comments.
Nicole from Twitter says, so I would need to have a chaperone because certain men can't behave. Ridiculous. I don't think it's ridiculous for him. I think it's gossip breeds allegations. And the last thing he needs or wants right now, especially in the Me Too movement, is allegations. So it's worked for him so far.
You're assuming that there's like this huge epidemic of women who can't be trusted, that are just throwing themselves at him, or they are ready to have a false accusation.
No,
that's scary.
I'm not worried about the woman. I'm worried about him walking out with a woman that's not his wife, someone snapping some sort of picture, throwing it up on PerezHilton.com, and then now there goes the allegations, and that's the last thing he would want.
It's an interesting point. Ashley from Instagram says, I agree with this practice. My father was a pastor, and women will really try you. They do not care.
That's what I'm worried about.
Yeah, because I care. I think that's a big overstatement. I think, to me, this read like Joel Osteen literally can't control himself. It felt like his temptations were too great. I did sit down with Bo and talked a little bit more about it. He made some great points about what the optics of it, right? Yeah. But again, if I'm a congregant and I want to speak to my pastor, I don't want someone else in there. I want a private conversation with a respectful conversation. So I think this is a little silly as a rule, to be honest.
And Deborah from Twitter says, doesn't this limit his ability to serve half his flock?
That's right.
Well, I see your point, Deborah, but at the same time, like, I'm from the Bible Belt, and so I know a lot of pastors who adopt this practice. And the simple reason is this, especially when you're in a counseling situation, male and female, could be a vulnerable situation, could be discussing private matters with a husband. You have someone who could take advantage of her. It's not all about the women throwing themselves at the pastor. It could be because neither one of them trust themselves, and that's sad to say, but this happens in a lot of congregations, and I've seen this happen in 2 congregations back in Memphis. So the thing we have to think about here is Joel is giving himself an added protection. Perhaps he needs another woman in there as well. You just have to think about not just the optics, but can someone be trusted? And maybe having that extra person there just gives him that extra protection against not just his own temptation, but perhaps hers too. I think it could be a win-win all around.
As long as we look at it as a case-by-case basis.
Absolutely.
Not this overgeneralization, blanket statement.
Yeah,
We can agree on that.
Yes.